In this video, we will walk through the process of changing object statuses using a mass workflow transition job. Hello, I'm Tracy, a lead administrator responsible for managing batch workflow transitions in Nakisa Lease Accounting. I have received a list of system objects that need to be transitioned from lease end to closed status. This activation group is one of several that are in a lease end status and need to be closed. The process involves two steps. First, creating a job profile to define the data affected by the job. Second, initiating the mass workflow transition job. Let's start by defining a profile. In Nakisa Lease Accounting Suite, I open the main menu in the top left corner. I select Batch Management, then Mass Workflow Transition from the list of available mass jobs, and click on Profiles. A new tab opens, displaying all of my existing workflow transition profiles. To create a new profile, I click the plus icon. I enter a profile name for easy identification in the future. Then I select the applicable ERP system. For filtering, I can choose either All or List. Selecting List allows me to target specific data, in this case, the North American lease area and business unit. Choosing All applies the job to all data, such as all company codes. I click Submit to create the profile. Now that the profile is ready, let's run a mass workflow job. I click on the main menu and return to Batch Management. Under Mass Workflow Transition, I select Jobs. A new tab opens, displaying the Mass Workflow Jobs page. I click the plus icon to create a new job. I define the target entity, selecting activation groups for this transition. In some cases, I might modify inputs using an Excel file, but for this job, I will use the default workbook inputs. I select my principal position. In this job, I only want to process activation groups under lessee contracts. Next, I define the initial state, which instructs this system to identify all activation groups currently in the lease end status. I have two options for determining the resulting status of the job by selecting the action to be performed or end state or the desired object status. There is only one action available for lease end, that being close. However, other initial states can have many actions. Or I could instead select the closed end state. Mass workflow jobs can transition objects through multiple statuses in one execution. If hitchhiking is enabled, objects in intermediary statuses will be picked up on the way and processed to the final state defined in the job inputs. Now I select the profile I created earlier. If needed, I can apply an object ID filter to limit the job to a specific subset of identified data. However, since I want to process all activation groups in lease end for the selected company, I leave this input empty. I click Add to start the job. The job enters scheduled status. Once it reaches the front of the queue, processing begins. Upon completion, the status changes to Done. I can now review the affected activation groups to confirm their status has been updated to Closed.